Welcome, travelers. Have a seat. Take a load off. And join me for the Donald Kent Comic Book Illustration Show. Let your imagination come to life. As we journey down the road together. If it's your first time here, don't be afraid to join the chat. Talk freely. Exercise your freedom of speech. Let caution go to the wind. Tox is here. Oh my gosh. My lovely, lovely girl. The beautiful, the eloquent, the talented, the marvelous Tox. Tox Art. Ladies and gentlemen, the next world-class anime comics artist, Tox Art. Check out her channel for cool anime art, manga anime. What's shaking there, girl? How we doing? Good to see ya. What's new in your world, kiddo? You know what? I forgot to share this link in my social media. So I should have done that before, but I guess the true fans will get a notification. Gotta hit that notification button, folks. I do stream frequently, and I have a new show coming up in January that will be a regular show, and I'm planning on doing that on Thursday nights. So yeah. Huh. This is kind of interesting music. It's like, it's not trip hop. There's a name for this genre. I forget the name of it. But then the use of the like Persian guitar. I don't know. It's a stringed instrument. That's like a guitar, but that's pretty interesting. There's an album. It's actually the soundtrack to Hello to Eddie. Sorry, Adele. Sorry. Nice to have you back, Adele. What's new? Doing some inking today. In fact, since you're here, I'll show you some of the works that I'm doing. These are characters from the graphic novel. I'm back. Adele, tell me more about yourself. You're an artist as well, am I right? And here's a dude. Big arm dude. That's cool. Oh, cool. Thank you. And then there's this pagan warrior character. That's pretty badass. Don't make him angry. That's my advice. With a hammer and a battle axe. Well, I'm not that good at drawing. Oh, okay. All right. I'll forgive you. I will forgive you. What brought you to this channel? That is an interesting thing. Did it just pop up in your algorithm, in your feed? Or do you know who I am? Do you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, any place else? Yeah, I'm kind of digging this. So, well, minus the vocals there. Anyway, I'll turn that down a little bit. We can chat. I'll come back soon. Have an amazing day. All right. God bless you. Excuse me. Is that the right size? It's always tricky finding just exactly the right template. If you don't get it right, then you're like, ah. Did you ever say, ah? I'm pretty confident that this is the one. Das ist gut. When you're doing machine parts, houses, airplanes, cars, mechanical things, then you gotta use these templates. Like they're really important. You can freehand some stuff when you're doing, like I say, mechanical things, but overall, you do want to try to keep it as architectural, I guess, as you can. Bye. So this Middle Eastern instrument reminds me of the soundtrack to Martin Scorsese's film The Last Temptation of Christ, created by Peter Gabriel. Pretty amazing. If you ever get a chance to listen to it, it's really, I probably could find it on YouTube and maybe put it on. It's really intense. The film is very intense. I think it's pretty awesome in that it gives voice to people who are kind of questioning and lost spiritually. It's quite profound. And then we got a little reggae thing going on here. So, oh, I'm off camera. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh. So I'll just kind of blather here, just share my thoughts and stuff. I think I tried to bring this up on the last show. There's this really great interview that I was watching. I don't remember the name of the show, of course, but basically it's a psychologist who works with, in like insane asylums and prisons. And there's this constant problem that these patients have. And what it is they say their voices. Like the voices, the voices told me this, or the voices this and that, and whatever. And his theory is that they're demons, that it's demonic. And it goes on to criticize the medical industry and how, for example, the people who run, the big academics in science and psychiatry, etc., they live and die by publishing. They have to publish their findings, and then if you, that's it's kind of a thing in that field, and so they will publish anything. Like they'll come up with basically fake shit, And then there's the medical industry that wants to capitalize by making and sort of selling drugs, whatever those might be, psychiatric drugs. I mean, they don't want you to get better. You know what I'm saying? That's not the purpose of those businesses, So if the problem is like demonic manifestation or infestation, that's a better word, then what's the treatment? You know what I'm saying? It's certainly not more fucking drugs, you know what I'm saying? So that particular guy is really out to expose all of this stuff. Now that's, the medical industry is going to be like, the guy is a whack, he's a crank, because like whatever, demons and they can look down on him or something like that. But anyway, yeah, like he goes into some heavy shit in the interview. The guy interviewing him is the son of a pastor, and he shares an experience about how the church that he grew up in had numerous demonic attacks to the church itself and the parishioners. And one such case where a woman was possessed, and like his dad, again, who's the pastor, did something like an 8 or 9 hour, uh, what do you call it? Like when you take the ghosts out of somebody, exorcism or something of that nature. And he said during the course of the exorcism, the demon kind of projected a holographic face out of the face of the woman that they were trying to help, and laughed at him, and that's pretty fucking crazy. That's some crazy ass shit right there, bruh. So I mean, I don't think that's something I'd want to see. You know, I always feel stuff like that is like I'll believe it when I see it, but then if you see it, it changes you. You know, it'll really change you, and then you realize the frustration of the people who have seen that stuff, and nobody believes them. You know. A lot of this stuff I kind of weigh into my studies on Gnosticism, you know, and trying to come to terms with that. Anybody else here? No, not yet. All right. Just a chill stream, folks. Chillaxin'. That's a really old expression, chillaxin'. I don't know if everybody uses that anymore. But imagine younger generation people are not familiar with that. It's a pretty cool term. All right, lovely. I've known people that have had such experiences and shared it with me, you know, in confidence. They're yeah, afraid to tell other people about it for fear of being laughed at or whatever, you know. But in the end, I would say that these kinds of supernatural experiences only drive people to religion more, you know, more so. Not that that's a bad thing, you know. I would say, like, when I say religion in the West, I would obviously mean Christianity. But I mean, if you were plagued with demons, you would want some protection, right? You know what I mean? How do you fight demons? You know. Not saying like I'm the greatest at this kinds of things, but I have my own ways, I guess, and I've had to employ them. It's not fun, but it is. You know what? This music reminds me of Khruangbin. You guys ever hear of Khruangbin? That name is so weird. When I think, I'm like, what's a Khruangbin? You know, like, anyone tell me what a Khruangbin is? You know, it seems like it's a bin where you put your karung. You know, I mean, what else could it be? But then the question is, what is karung? And I don't know why this comes to mind. It's just my wacky imagination. I imagine it being like moldy marijuana. You know, oh, it's karung. He's got some. It's in. Go to the karung bin. I don't know why that comes to mind. It's just a weird. When you don't know what something is, you kind of. I guess you just make it up. You know. It's kind of funny. But I like Khruangbin. I mean, I can't like. I can only take so much of them because it's kind of the same tropes over and over and over. It's funny how like it's really popular with girls that are into that hippie culture. Who's here? Mr. Kolovrat is here. Hello, hello. Please, sir, save me from myself from talking about silly, goofy things that embarrass me. What's shaking, man? What's new in your world? This music that I got on, I don't know, can you hear it? It's just got me in that kind of Middle Eastern vibe. I knew two girls that traveled to the Middle East years ago in college. These are like super liberal women. Only really liberal women do stuff like that. Either that or like Christian women that are going on like a, a Christian visit or something to Israel. But the one girl, I really shouldn't. I'll change the story a little bit. She was assaulted sexually by, wow, big surprise, right? By like, I think this was in Egypt actually, and it just so happened that the police were present and witnessed this, and they took her and the assailant to the police station, and they just said, like, wait outside. And then after a few minutes, they came out with a handful of fingernails, bloody fingernails. And they showed it to her to say, like, are you satisfied? Like, this is the justice that we were doing on this man, who assaulted you. Now, he didn't rape her. He fondled her in an inappropriate way that was uncomfortable for her and bad and wrong. Pretty crazy stuff, right? Yeah, I don't want to talk about Muslim cultures, but I mean, and she was like more. How do I say this? She was more abused by that experience than by the guy grabbing her the way that he grabbed her. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was more disturbing to her, more upsetting to her than like what this guy did. I mean, assault, like, being groped in public or whatever is obviously a bad thing, and there's nothing you're not, But then, like, seeing the kind of torture that they put the guy through, in a sense, was an assault on her emotionally, in a way. Well, hey, you wanted to go to fucking Egypt, okay? You got what you came for. Look at me, I'm, and she's like a lesbian as well, so she had that kind of. I got to prove to the world that I can do anything a man can do. Well, makes me think of those poor girls from Sweden who went hiking in the mountains, camping in the mountains of Algeria. Sure, that's a great idea. Two lesbian girls from Sweden on a camping trip in the desert mountains of Algeria. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, pretty dark stuff, but let's change the topic here. Culverat, I finished recording that video for YouTube, and I'm beginning to describe how the vampiric psychosis affects the main character. Okay, so this is one of your stories then. Give me a little more detail on this video that you made. Are you using video as a kind of storytelling medium? Is that what you're doing? It's not gonna work. Geez, how did I become a comic book artist? How did that happen? You know, I went to college, majored in fine art, went to Japan, studied traditional Asian art, Oriental art. I came back, moved to New York City, and tried to break into the New York City gallery scene, you know, doing a kind of conceptual art. Combining like philosophical elements of East and West, you know, just like the mix of East and West that I had acquired through my education. And I couldn't find any gallery. There was one gallery. There was only one gallery, and it was run by a Japanese woman who liked my work. And she advised me. She's like you're, you know, she got the message of what I was trying to do, right? Of course, because she's Japanese. And she's like, you know, you're really really onto something. Keep working, work hard at this, and come back to me in like 6 months. And I was, you know, really like, oh, awesome, you know, this looks like something. Like I might actually get picked up by a gallery, you know, that could sell my work, and I could become a professional artist. Should I give you a name? Sure, give me a name. Um, I hope it's not Paint My Nails Skull. But yeah, you can give me a name. I have to tell you a lot of things happen. I'm ready. Share your stories with me. I want to know. It's been a while since I've seen you in the chat. Of course I didn't forget about you. Get out of here. How could I? I'm really, really grateful to all my fans. You know, I've known so many people over the years that, you know, followed my content, and we would correspond for a while or something, you know. And then, like, years later, they'd come back to me and be like, hey, how you doing? Something, something. And then I'm like, You got to remind me, who are you? Because I just get so many people corresponding with me. But there's only one Tox. There's only one Tox art. And I wish I knew that I'm saying your name correctly. It just that's what it sounds like in English. I'll put it that way. There we go. All right, we got a robot here. So basically, there was a 6.1 earthquake. Geez, oh God. In our Dhaka, Bangladesh, building fell, and funny thing is, my mom and dad ran away, leaving behind me. Charming. My exam going on as always, Mr. Cat. Oh Lord. Actually, I did hear about an earthquake in Bangladesh. I'm very, very sorry. Where are you living now? Like, are you? I mean, how's your family? Are you guys doing okay? What happened? How did you recover from the earthquake? I should tell you, I was in a 7.1 earthquake when I lived in Taiwan, and so I know what it's like to be in a real intense, serious earthquake. It's terrifying. It's really, really, truly terrifying. You're afraid for your life. People have no idea about how powerful the earth is until you've been in an earthquake. In my experience, it was at 1:30 in the morning. I don't know, maybe 1:15 or something. And everybody was asleep. Let me read this. Good. Our building is okay, and I was sitting on the sofa. It felt so freaking cool. Not gonna lie, Gen Z stuff. I mean, it is amazing. It's when it's over and you're not dead. It's like holy cow! I can't believe I just experienced that. That was wild. The nice part about it is not being crushed under rubble. That's pretty nice. My case was a little more sad. I could go into it, but it's not like really nice to talk about because of all the devastation and death. So it's not. It was bad. It was a bad earthquake. What I can tell you is that they say that there's going to be a lot of volcanic activity. Do you live anywhere near a volcano? And with volcanoes come earthquakes. So, oops, there goes the light. So expect more. I'm sorry to tell you this, but late, like November 27th, I think, is what they're predicting. So you and your family might want to find a safe place to go. I was heaving fun. Heaving fun or having fun? I guess heaving fun is a good pun, though. It's a very funny joke. Colivrat says, yeah, that's why I laugh at the global warming crowd. They truly don't know how terrifying the Earth can be. Yeah, it's heavy duty, heavy duty. And I'll just tell you my story since we're on the topic. Damn, yeah. So I'm asleep. It's 1:30 in the morning, and then there's this extremely loud bang noise that I honestly thought it sounded like a train had hit my house, and that's not an exaggeration. And then after that bang was followed by like really, really loud thunder. We've all know thunder from the sky when it rains. We hear, you know, boom, and grrr, and that kind of like thunderous noise. Well, but the thunder was coming from under the earth instead of from the sky, which is very, very discombobulating. And then since everything is shaking, all of the cars on the street, the car alarms are going off. So you have like 100 car alarms going off at the same time. And then all of the houses nearby are shaking. And so the glass in the windows are shattering because when a building is moving like it's made of jello, the glass doesn't bend like that, right? So all the windows are going psh, 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 so try to imagine all of those sounds at the same time, and you're deep asleep, and then like total chaos. And then the way that the earth moves during an earthquake is like a waterbed. It moves up and down and back and forth and side to side. It's like, it's just really, really discombobulating. So the legs of my bed were banging on the floor, like in a kind of like a bang 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 bang, bang, like all four legs were going crank 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 like that. And as the bed is just like being shoved all up in the air and almost threw me out of the bed. So I knew immediately I'm in an earthquake, and I ran to the window. I was going to jump out the window of my apartment. Now, good news is that I only lived on the second floor. But what would make you. Oh, and so I get to the window and I look down, and underneath me is a kind of it's a sort of a garage type space that has a glass roof. And I'm like, if I jump, I'm jumping on top of a giant glass roof onto a car and then the ground. And if I do that, I'm going to get sliced up into pieces. And then that's a new problem. How am I going to, could I cut an artery and bleed to death? And just and the pain of it, of course, right? So I sat in the windowsill trying to hang on as the house was just like slamming and slamming. And I thought at that moment, I'm like, okay, you got to make a choice. You either get buried under the rubble of the house, or you jump through the glass and get cut to pieces. And that was the choice I had to make in like 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like just running from my bed to the window was really, really hard to do because when the floor is moving and moving and moving and moving, you can't get your feet on the floor to move, to walk or run. Let's read some comments here. Damn. I'll read the comments. Hold on. Yeah. It is so embarrassing. I remember a light earthquake in 2020. Sounded like a truck hit my home, and my family was awoken whilst I slept through the whole thing. Oh, you. So when the earthquake finally kind of toned down, kind of fade, they like fade. It's like shaking water in a bucket. Like eventually it goes and then it kind of calm down. So once that happened, I ran for my fucking life out of the apartment building and out into the parking lot area. And I try to imagine, like, you don't know if the apartment is stable or if it's gonna like crash because it just went through, does that make sense? Like if the building is unstable after an earthquake, it could just fall. So I ran out of there like it was gonna fall on me, like at the top speed of my life, running for my life, literally. So I met other people out in the parking lot, and they knew that I was scared out of my mind. I was really traumatized by this. But since they're Taiwanese people, they grew up in this. They're used to it, and even though it's bad, they've been through many earthquakes in their lifetime. So they try to console me, and they were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And like, calm down, it's gonna be fine, and that kind of thing, And then the aftershock hit. People think that earthquakes are just, there's an earthquake and then it's over. It's not how it works. There's the first one, and then it kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but it sort of like bounces back and comes back, for lack of a better word. And so the aftershock comes, and that one is like 5.3, which is still gigantic. That's a gigantic, anybody can tell you that. That's a huge, earthquake in itself. And so I sat through that one. More terror, more noise, more destruction, you know. And then, and you're more trauma. And then another one came, but that one was much less. That was, I don't know what it was. I couldn't tell you like the actual Richter scale, but they just they mellow out as they go, Anyway, I don't want to get onto it like a real dark stream or whatever with all this negative stuff, but pretty incredible though. Anyway, Tox, I'm glad that you and your family are safe. I'm sorry you had to experience that. I think Bangladesh is known for having a lot of floods and natural disasters, which is really rough. Pretty rough. Anyway, this drawing's coming out pretty fucking cool. Let's read some messages. Hold on here. Let me read. I'm going to take a break to read messages. Talk says, by the way, Mr. Kent, it's almost 1 a.m. I will go to sleep. As always, don't push yourself. Take care, okay? Or I will come over and kidnap you. My lecture will never get old, by the way. I will annoy you every time I will join your live stream. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you have sweet dreams. No more earthquakes, okay? God bless you, and good night. All right. This turned out pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm gonna have to punch this out a bit more. Punch it out. All right, I think I'm pretty pleased with this. I think I'll let this go, and we'll move on. Should we do Pagan Man or Super Duper Arms Man? Gosh, the choices. I kind of want to finish this guy. You know how it's like I don't like, whatever. I just want to finish this guy. And so Kolovrat, Arms Man. Okay. What was I gonna say? Tell me more about your story. That would be very interesting. Muy interesante. I gotta say, I'm kind of digging this music, man. but it's very Khruangbin for sure. I thought like, oh wow, they got such a cool style, and then I'm like, oh, they ripped it off from here. Have you guys ever heard of Dengue Fever? It's a band called Dengue Fever. They're really unique. They mix a kind of, it's like a kind of rock and roll with traditional Cambodian music. They're basically just a bunch of dudes that were traveling and living in Cambodia, and they're musicians or whatever, and they hooked up with this woman, Cambodian woman, who has an amazing voice. Like, wow, really, really, really good voice. And then they just formed this unique kind of music, and they call it the Dengue Fever. I urge you to look it up. It's pretty neat stuff. How would I describe it? It's got. There's a word for this. I just can't think of what the word is right now. It's kind of like film noir rock, if that makes sense. Like, it's got a slightly spooky, cinematic kind of quality to it. They use rock instruments, but also traditional instruments from Cambodia. I just can't describe it. I mean, as you can imagine, with something like that, it sounds pretty wild, you know. Well, I have some bits of the story where the bad guys partake in cannibalism. Charming. 12 of the main antagonists are called the Cannibal Knights. Yikes. Where does this story take place, and what time frame is it? I was shocked to find out that they're still doing cannibalism in Africa. And it's disturbing as fuck. And it says a lot about Africa. Oh man, I don't even. Wow, how did this stream turn into like the weird negative stream? I don't want to. I'm trying to be cool. Trying to be happy Don. Happy Don. Fun time happy Don. Is that's I don't want people to run away. Like, oh, I can't handle this stream conversation. It's too disturbing. I don't obsess over those things. But since we're on the topic, this isn't about cannibalism, but there was a really disturbing film that I just saw recently. It's amazing. It's a movie, so, you know, it's fictional. Scarlett Johansson is the lead role in this. Anyway, I'll read your comment here. 12,000 years in the future, though. It's very dark fantasy, despite how sci-fi it can be. Okay. Alrighty. So the film is called, I think the name of the film is called Under the Skin. If you were to search like any variation of that phrase, Under the Skin, Scarlett Johansson, you'll find the film. I actually stumbled across a channel on Instagram where they do reviews of horror films. And the guy who does the reviews mentioned this film. And I only figured that out after the film when it was done. There's one specific shot in the film that appeared on this guy's show to, you know, it was like whatever, it was like a pretty scary image, you know. Anyway, I'll try to explain it to you. So I'm pretty sure it's filmed in Scotland. So the environment itself is pretty dark and dreary, and lends itself in a way to just the tone of the film, which is overall kind of dark. Somehow, okay, you don't really realize what's happening in the film until the end. You know, something paranormal or alien is happening, but you're not quite sure how or what it means and what, you know, all of that. So the fact that you as the viewer is struggling to make meaning of these weird, horrific events adds to the, what's it called? Suspense. You know, like when you're trying to figure out a film as you go, then you're really, really on the edge of your seat, you know. So it starts off, there's a man and a woman. And the man, he starts the film off where he's carrying a dead body. He rides a motorcycle and he finds this dead woman's body and puts it in a van, takes it somewhere. And then there's a woman who's played by Scarlett Johansson who is in this kind of strange room because the room is not a room, it's just all white light. And she's undressing the corpse, and Scarlett Johansson's like totally naked in this scene, and she takes the woman's clothes and puts it on, and then leaves this abandoned house where apparently that occurs, and then she kind of goes out on the hunt for men, and so she brings these men back to this house and allures them into this weird dark room that's again kind of like you're in another dimension, and the room is just all black, and so it's very spooky, but you know, she's kind of like a spider and she's drawing them into this space. And then the first guy that she gets, he's walking towards her, and then the floor becomes liquid, and he like slowly descends into this dark, like underwater kind of a space that's a void, a total void. And he can look up and see her walking away as if it was like a glass ceiling or something. Let me read the comment. Though Kolovrat says, though that's part of the reason why I'm describing how that vampiric psychosis affects the main protagonist, how they tortured him when he was young, becoming similar to them. Whoa. Is there a theme in this? I mean, is this an allegory for something political? Do you understand my point, or is this just like strictly science fiction? Anyway, the man is trapped in this dark void, and you can see he's fucked. You know, it's a terrifying situation. But then he notices in the void there's another man down there that's, you know, they're both naked because they think they're, you know, this woman's seducing them, and she gets them to take their clothes off. And but this other man, you could tell he had been there for a very, very, very long time, and his body was almost looked like it was partially decomposed, yet he was still alive. And you could sense that, like, okay, maybe this environment was kind of sucking the life out of him in some parasitic way. And so the first man kind of goes over and like grabs his hand, thinking he's dead, but then he kind of like, you know, squeezes his hand, and then it's kind of shock, and the other guy, who has been alone in this void for an unimaginable amount of time, he starts yelling, you know, like you can imagine, you know, like help me, get me out of here kind of thing. But you can't hear anything because it's a void. And you can see he's flipping out. But then suddenly he like pops like a balloon, and only his flesh is kind of like floating in this watery abyss. And it's like his skin is a type of suit, like if that makes sense. This looks pretty fucking badass. Actually, I'm really pleased with this. That's damn good. I'm really really pleased with that. I'm sorry I have to compliment myself because I guess I'm a jerk. Anyway, let's. I think there's maybe a couple touch ups I'm gonna do, but anyway, then the camera goes back to the dude who just got tricked into going into this void, and then the camera backs out, and the terror of knowing that he's stuck there in this, and that he's just gonna rot out slowly and then become like a shell, like an empty flesh bag. It's really disturbing, really like a horrifying way to die, Okay, I guess I've done enough damage. I'll stop. Let's get back to Mr. Kulovrat's story. He says, and he's talking about his story that he's writing, but that's where I take inspiration from Berserk. Kentaro Miura made Guts an evil edge lord in the first chapters, but later has Guts redeem himself and begin to heal from what happened to him back when in his past. Okay. Wow, that's kind of a very human story there, if you think about it, right? I mean, who's not healing from their past, If you're not healing from your past, you better be, you better be on it. Wow. Heavy duty. Sounds like a pretty damn cool story, bro. Just gonna say. All right, I think this is kind of, sort of, maybe okay. I guess it's gonna have to do. I don't really see what more I can do. Ooh, these are not easy to do. They're very detailed. Anyway, there you go, and now you know. Do 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 do. So the film goes on and gets weirder. Do you want to hear more? You want to know more? What happens? So the woman continues on her hunt for men, basically to trap into that void. I guess one assumes that the void somehow like takes their vital energy or something. Like it's kind of like feeding off of them in some weird way. Like, what's the point of putting them there if they're not in some way being fed off of? The theme of like the man just becoming a skin bag after whatever, after being down there for so long, is an important theme in the story that comes a little later. So the man who gets well, let me just kind of focus. So what's her face? She goes out to find another man, and it's really fucked up. She's driving at night, and there's just like some dude with like a hood on, kind of walking down the street, and she pulls over and just starts kind of like, I'm not, I'm trying to find my way around or something, and I'm kind of lost. Do you know where the blah blah supermarket is? Oh yeah, and he comes over and He's got a hood on, so you kind of can't really see his face very well. You kind of almost wonder, like, is this guy like a criminal? You know, because the way that he's hiding his face. And you think like, oh, she's gonna pick up a serial killer, and then he's gonna get her, you know, something like that. So she's like, well, you know, would you mind jumping in the car and like kind of showing me like if you're heading in that direction, you know, would you mind helping me? So he gets in the car and they're driving, and he takes his what do you call it, his hood off. Turns out the man's got elephantitis, and so his whole head, his face, is like grotesquely. This is real. This wasn't makeup. This was like a real guy with elephantitis. He's got. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll know it's like hideous to see. You know, the Elephant Man, the whole thing. Like his head is like unusually large, and his face is just grotesquely mutated. It's rough. It's really sad to see. It's really, really painful to look at. So she's talking. Oh, by the way, throughout the whole movie, she's what's her face? The actress playing this Scarlett. She's totally emotionless. Like she doesn't blink at all, at all. Like it's really, really weird. There's something very strange about her. She doesn't blink and she has no emotions at all. So she's just using her body to essentially attract these men. But you don't, you know, she can talk, but it's just, there's something very strange about her. Anyway, she starts trying to flirt with this guy. And I mean, the dude's clearly, you know, and she's saying things like, oh, you have beautiful hands. And, you know, like, do you have a girlfriend? And which you can imagine this man is like, he's in this truck with her trying to help her find this supermarket. And then she's sort of flirting with him, and he's kind of like, what the fuck? You know, like, what is this, some kind of game? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, and he's like, no, I've never had a girlfriend, you know. And, but then as you're watching it, you're also thinking, why is she asking these questions? Like, a normal person would know these things and not talk about those things and probably react with, like, you know, disgust by looking at his mutated face. But instead she's flirting with him. Like, what the fuck is wrong with her? You see where I'm going with it? So she manages to get him back to the abandoned house where she trapped the other guy. And she manages him to get him to take his clothes off like the other guy, which is even weirder. Like, you know, it's very, very strange and very uncomfortable. You know, like when you watch a film, like it's just an uncomfortable thing to see in a film, you know. And then so she leads him to the location. Excuse me. To kill him basically, or whatever, to take him, to put him in the pit or whatever, the void, I should say. But somehow she has like a moment of compassion, and she stops and like walks away, like she just like leaves, you know. And so this kind of mutated Elephant Man guy is really confused by this, and you can see that he's trying to find his way out of the house, and then like his clothes are gone, and he has to like escape this house naked. You know, it's a very weird film. You know, extremely weird film. But then, like the dude that came originally with the woman's body, like in the very beginning of the film, he shows up and kills that guy and stuffs him in his trunk and drives off. And I don't know. There's other things that happen in the film that I don't even know if that you can explain them. But at the very end, this woman is she sort of becomes amazed at herself. Like you can kind of feel somehow or other she's from another planet or another dimension. You just start putting that together. And the way that she looks at her body in the mirror, you can tell that she's kind of becoming infatuated with herself and this human form. And she's starting to like, in a sense, become human. And this background music is like perfect for this story, by the way. Kolovrat continues. He says, and yes, the story is political. All the bad guys are GHEY, Troon PDF files, yes, who did horrible things to the main character in his childhood. So it's a partial revenge story. Good. So I think there should be lots of revenge stories like that, like specifically targeting Troon's PDF files. We're living in an age where we're finally coming to full awareness of child trafficking and the kinds of crimes that these motherfuckers have done probably deserve the worst kind of punishments if you think about it. It's an offense against God. I mean, it literally is. That's part of the whole satanic ritual of this type of crime is to, children are the closest to God, and to do what these people are doing is directly satanic, directly. How do I know that? Just from research and contemplation. And there's a lot of people out there that talk about these things, but there's few people that have the mettle to actually research this stuff. This is why, this part of why I do what I do is like, the people in charge of these things, the crimes against humanity that they are guilty of must be brought to justice. And that's why I support Kolovrat in making his story and it being a revenge story, because that's the only kind of agency that we have with these demons. You know what I'm saying? It's a dark world out there, guys. Here I am trying to be Mr. Funny Happy Time, and you keep bringing me back down that road. And that's not you. It's just the themes. But, man, it's just so weird how it just all keeps coming back to that. But I don't want to do that. I'm like, have a fun show, Don. Like, make jokes, Be funny. So I'll get to the end of the movie here. There's a time where the alien woman, she like gets this guy out into the woods, and the guy tries to rape her. And in the course of doing that, he tears her skin off. But underneath the skin is this disturbing alien creature that is the true person who's wearing a human skin to, trick these men into this void to steal their souls or something. And and that's the most terrifying part of the film, is when like the alien pulls the human skin off and you see what it really is. And it looks like it's made out of rock, like out of some hard material. And it has like like it's like a sculpture. Like there's a human shape to it, but It's a solid rock-like object that can move, and it's black. And what she ends up doing is just like sitting down and like she looks at the face of the human that she's been pretending to be, and feeling sad that she can't be human. You know, it's trippy. It's a really really trippy film. Under the Skin, Scarlett Johansson. I would say like wow, you know, like that's a hell of a film to be in. I would give her props or whatever for taking on that role. A lot of nudity in there for her, like full nudity, you know, the whole package. Yeah, she takes some pretty interesting roles. I will give her that. I will give her that. Anyway, so I'm fasting today, and my stomach is like really hurts right now. Just getting that growling noise that you get. You probably can't hear it, but anyway, yeah, should do more fun stories. Oh, wait. I gotta read your comments here. Kolovrat says, yep, I do want to make a story about the normalization of because I used to speak out against it before my previous channel was terminated. Fascinating. Kolovrat says, yeah, I should do more fun stories. Most of my stories are dark. I should do more fun ones that take more inspiration from 3D platformers and Lego games in its innocence. So, as an artist, you do what you feel. You know, you have a statement, a theme, an obsession, and you follow it. You know, and that's fine. That's part of what it's about. You know, I am gonna do this in pencil so I don't screw it up. Let's see, what is the perfect circle for this? Maybe that one. Yes. Okay, good. Uh-oh. Let's see here and then here. All right. Not quite. A little higher. Sorry, guys. I gotta. It's like doing brain surgery. You gotta be really careful. I've never done brain surgery, so I don't know. But let's just assume it's the same. So, Khruangbin, because this music reminds me of Khruangbin. He uses the same scales. They're like Arabic scales. And so, like, I think probably from like a Western perspective, it's like, ooh, exotic. He's doing exotic music. But they're just Arabic scales. And this particular song's got like a little reggae beat behind it, but anyway, what am I saying? So Khruangbin reminds me of a girl I used to love. Oh, sad. But what's really weird is that two of her close friends are like really into me, and I'm like, what? You know, like what the hell? Like, why? Is it like, why? What? You know, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, the one that I want doesn't want me, but her friends want me. So what do I do? Well, I guess he's just gonna have to find out. Gonna have to figure that one out. What does it mean in the grand scheme? What does it mean in the grand scheme? Fascinating. All right, here we go. Not bad, not bad. All right. It's crazy to think that people, like hundreds of people, would assemble in a field to chop each other to pieces. You know? The Vikings actually, I was it the Vikings? Who was it? No, the Romans. I was watching a video on like Roman religion, and they have like a season for war. Like war is like a part of their culture. That's crazy. Like, wow, I suppose this might have been a thing among a lot of Europeans, but because it certainly was for Germanic tribes, you know, war was part of what you did, it was a thing, Though there's always elements, it appears a hooked cross. I have thoughts about using the hooked cross in a fun and innocent context. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Oh, the hooked cross, that one. The swastika is what you're saying. Well, how would you use it in a fun, innocent way? That would be interesting. I love the swastika. I love it so much. It's such a powerful symbol. And what's insane about it is it's one of the few symbols that is ubiquitous across human cultures and in history. It's kind of mind-bending to see that all of these different cultures and different times and places all have a version of the swastika. It, I mean, is that amazing, or is that just kind of like, oh well, you know, the law of statistics would show blah blah blah. But like Africans, Native Americans, Asians, and on and on. But my understanding among Germanic peoples was that it was a kind of a diagram of the Big Dipper moving through the seasons. That if you tilt the Big Dipper side by side in a circle around the North Star, then it makes a swastika. And so that essentially represents the changing of the seasons. It's kind of a natural thing. Let's see. Well, since it was used as a sundial in cultures like the ones of the Slavs, I think I'll use it to represent the sun and the happiness the sun brings. That's beautiful. Beautiful. You're gonna make me cry. Very good. Very good. There you go, and now you know. to redraw that. Or am I? I don't know. Well, I just noticed my phone battery is 1 point away from crashing, so I'm gonna wrap it up. You know, I always have that phone problem. Anyway, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time on the Donald Kent Fun Time Hour. God bless.